Hello there, my loves. Are you anchoring and ascending today? Well, welcome back, beautiful soul. I am so glad that you are here with me today. So, before we do anything, let's go ahead and arrive fully. We're not going to rush, we're not going to perform, we're not doing anything to fix anything in this moment. We're here to pause and to breathe and to tend to our inner man. Okay, so we're going to place one hand on our chest and one on our belly. We're going to inhale through your nose and take it in real deep. Feel your breath rise. Hold it. And then we're going to exhale and gently release it slowly through our mouths and let our shoulders drop. Again, inhale slowly, deeply through the nose. Hold it. And then release it slowly and exhale through the mouth. Doesn't that feel good? All right. Well, I am Lady Kimberly Michelle, and this is the Soul Health Matters podcast. If you are a first time to my podcast, guess what? We do this every episode. We start by pausing, breathing, and exhaling. And we do this so that we can remove distractions and so that we can remove any limitations on our minds to hear and receive from God. This space is sacred. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to perform. You don't need to explain yourself here. You are welcome to just let go and let God. Okay? Just be. Today's episode is titled Living the Restored Life. Now, today I want to start with the question that may sound simple, but is really deeply revealing. When you hear the term restored, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? What is the activity or the object that you think about when you hear the word restored? For many of us, restoration, it sounds like getting back something we've lost. The relationship, the body, the finances, the years, the lifestyle. We imagine restoration meaning rewind, as God returning us to a former version of ourselves that we think we lost. But what if restoration is not about getting back? What if it's about being remade all over again? Because when I look at my own life, I'm going to be quite honest. I don't live restored because everything looks perfect. And by God, everything is not perfect in my life. My kids will tell you that. My closest friends will concur with me. Everything is not perfect in Kimberly's life. But what they will also tell you is that Kimberly lives restored because my soul is no longer fragmented. There aren't broken pieces of me in different stages of my life still waiting to be fixed. I live restored because I'm at peace with the past. I'm fully present. And I'm not so captivated by the future that I can't enjoy today. That's what restoration looks like for me. Restoration looks like waking up in the morning, not knowing what the day holds for me, but I have peace instead of panic. I check the list, but I'm not frantic about how to get it all done. It looks like silence without feeling lonely in the silence. That's what restoration feels like. It looks like saying no. Okay, some of us need to take a class in how to say no, but restoration looks like saying no without feeling guilty about it after, and saying yes without fear of the outcome. It looks like being misunderstood and not shrinking back, and it looks like being alone and not feeling abandoned. Restoration is like choosing alignment over applause. And I know that can be very challenging for some people. The restored life is quieter than we expect, but it's stronger than anything we've ever known. Scripture tells us in Joel 2:25, I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten. Notice, God didn't say he'll restore things. In this scripture, he says he restores years, time, meaning, identity. And then over in Romans 12:2, the Apostle Paul reminds us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Restoration, it always begins in the mind first, and then it settles deep down in our soul. The mind first, deep down in the soul second. Here's the truth that we don't always say out loud. Living restored, it comes with benefits, but it also comes with sacrifices. Okay, so the benefits: peace, clarity, discernment, self-trust, resilience, boundaries. The benefits also include a deep sense of being anchored in God rather than being tossed around by people's opinions. But the sacrifices, you're going to outgrow some rooms that you once begged to stay in or worked really hard to get to. You may lose access to people who may have benefited from your brokenness. Everybody is not thrilled when you get restored. When you become the most authentic and highest version of yourself, you lose some people along the way. Normally, it's the people that benefited from you being broken. You may also have to release patterns that you once ascribed to that felt like survival, right? There are some things that you felt like you just had to do on a regular basis and you couldn't live without. But there are some old patterns and habits that you have to relinquish when you're restored, because those habits and those patterns only identify with the broken version of you. And you'll know it. When you feel it, you know it. Hey, this does not serve me anymore. I don't get the same adrenaline rush. I don't get the same peace. I don't get the same comfort. I don't enjoy doing these things anymore. You'll know exactly what they are. The restored life also costs you your coping mechanisms, okay? Because it gives you freedom. When we cope with our issues as opposed to confronting them and dealing with them, that gives us the freedom to not have to confront those things. But we release our coping mechanisms when we're restored. Jesus tells us in John 10:10, I came that they may have life and have it more abundantly. More abundantly. But the Bible actually tells us that they might have life. There's a huge, important word there, might. Now, I want to make sure I touch on something very important here. Abundantly does not mean excess. We think abundance means we have over and above more than we can actually do anything with. It isn't excess. I believe that abundantly means wholeness. Here's today's anchoring truth, and I want us to sit with this in this message. Restoration, it doesn't make your life louder. I've heard people say it gets lonely at the top, because the higher you go and become the highest version of yourself, it gets quiet in that place. But it doesn't have to be lonely, because you're affirmed and you're anchored. But restoration makes your soul steady. You become more steady in yourself. So let's breathe that in together, okay? We're going to inhale steadier. And then exhale, releasing the need to rush, healing. Inhale, hold. Exhale, letting go of who you had to be to survive. Inhale, hold it deep. And then exhale slowly. Now stay here just for a moment and think about what we just covered. You're not behind. You are becoming. You are right where God needs you to be in order to move to the next stage of your journey. If today's episode resonated with you, if you are sensing that pull towards wholeness and restoration, but you might not be quite sure how to live this out day by day, I want to gently invite you to order a copy of my book. It's a deeper space of going through the journey of restoration. My book, Restored Soul, it was written for moments exactly like this. Not as a manual, but as a companion. Restored Soul for me was a place for me to anchor when my healing felt unfamiliar. When you begin to heal, everything about your life begins to feel unfamiliar. The world is different. You know why? Because you're breathing different. Your perspective, your paradigm is different. So you look at through life with a clean pair of lenses. You can find Restored Soul on my website, KimberlyMichelleFord.com. Just go up to the menu, click publications, and you'll find it right there. No pressure. It's just an open door for you to join me on the journey of restoration. Now, as we close today, I want you to remember these three things. Breathe. Breathe because your nervous system deserves peace. Choose. Choose because healing is an ongoing daily decision. And then anchor. Anchor because your soul needs something steady. Until next time, stay rooted, stay gentle with yourself, and keep living the restored life. Breathe, choose, anchor, and then move forward in power.